Greetings, welcome, and thank you for clicking. I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing Company, supporting your journey with healing experiences, coaching, and encouragement for life's changes, challenges, and transitions. Thanks for joining me for this episode of Ask the Stones, offering spiritual guidance and encouragement for life's challenging questions. Greetings, and thank you for joining me for this episode of Ask the Stones. Our question comes from Mason. How can I get back on track with my goals and passion, especially during these trying times? Mason, thank you so much for this question. I really appreciate this question and the ability to talk about things like goals and passion. So Mason, thank you so much. This is a question that many of us ask throughout our lives. And so, Mason, I want to say that this challenge that you feel with getting off track with your goals and your passion, I do want to say that that is completely normal. So this is something that absolutely is going to happen to you, even if, Mason, you have quote unquote found your purpose or you are very passionate about something. I think too often we have this idea that once we, quote, find our passion or our purpose, that we are going to ceaselessly work towards that, be thinking about it constantly, be working on it constantly, and we're just going to be so fueled by this passion that we just can't stop. I think that this is honestly a common misconception. And I personally have heard this from many people when someone says something like, oh, I just don't know what I want to do, or I have a hard time working towards this goal, or I'm feeling challenged with completing this task, or, what's my purpose? And people will say things like, well, you just haven't found your passion yet. Once you find your passion, then everything is gonna fall into place, and you won't have this question if you know your passion. And, oh, by the way, if you can't find your passion, this is the unstated undertext. If you can't find your passion or you haven't found it, there's something wrong with you. Wow. Well, Mason, I don't think there's anything wrong with you. I think that this is completely normal, and I think that this is completely normal even if you have, quote, found your purpose. That even when we find a passion, we have a passion, or quite frankly, Mason, we develop a passion, you're gonna have times when you're thinking, gosh, I just don't know that I really am into it right now. I'm just not so sure that I am on track with my goals and passion. And that is absolutely an okay thing, Mason. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It means that you are a human being. It doesn't mean that you're not passionate enough. It just means that you have other things going on in your life. That as a human being, maybe you have things to take care of. Maybe you have people to take care of, people in your life, relationships that you want to cultivate and maintain, and that you want to thrive, or other things that you want to do in addition to your passion. And that is all okay. There is nothing wrong with that. Mason, let's take me for an example. I absolutely love being able to encourage people with Reiki, card reading, and coaching. This is a true passion of mine, and I love it. Am I doing it 24/7? No, I sleep too. I eat, I garden, I hike, I do lots of other things. I call my mom. I call my sister. So Mason, I'm doing lots of other things in addition to this passion. And as with anything that we love and that we are enthused about, there are times when, gosh, we have competing priorities. We have other things to do. We have other things going on in our lives. And there are even times, Mason, when we have the feeling of, man, I'm just feeling a little off track right now. So, Mason, the first thing I want to say is that it is normal to get, quote, off track, to get sidetracked, to even get derailed when we do have a passion, when we do have goals and we are committed to those goals. These things do happen. So I want to acknowledge first and foremost, Mason, that this is not an abnormal thing. It does not mean that there's something wrong with you. Many people will say to you, oh, well, you just haven't found your purpose, Mason. Once you find your purpose, then you won't have this problem. No, that's not true. I think let's just acknowledge that right now, that yes, you've got passion, you've got, quote, purpose, whatever exactly that means, but you may still have times when your commitment, or maybe not even your commitment, Mason, but your moment-to-moment investment waxes and wanes, and that's okay. So first, I encourage you to not beat yourself up for these feelings. That I think that passion, even about things that we really are committed to, it waxes and wanes, just like energy. I mean, gosh, I think, look at it this way. When you're in a relationship, you may be completely devoted and committed to that person and love them and be passionate about the relationship. But, just because you are completely committed to the relationship, passionate about it, love the person, there are things that they might do that drive you crazy and you don't like. Or you may get upset with them from time to time. That doesn't mean that you are not committed to the relationship and that you're not passionate about it. It just means that it's going to have its moments. And so your passion and your commitment to your goals are going to have their moments. So that is absolutely okay, Mason. I want to acknowledge that where you are right now is okay. But you're wondering, how do I get out of it? I also want to say first and foremost that you ask about how to get on track, especially during these trying times. I think, Mason, the truth is that there are always going to be trying times. I think that, I'm assuming that you are referring to our COVID experience, the pandemic experience, which of course is trying, has been trying, depending upon how you look at it. And I think, Mason, that I almost said there's going to be another pandemic. Everyone, I am not projecting, I am not an oracle who is saying that we're going to have another pandemic. Actually, the chances scientifically are pretty good that at some point eventually we are going to have another pandemic. And so what I'm really saying here, though, is that we're going to have another pandemic in terms of, quote, trying times. So I think, Mason, in a sense, there's always a pandemic, in that there are always trying times. So whether they are experienced globally or not, you may very well be having more trying times in your life. As a matter of fact, I can pretty much guarantee that. So this experience of getting back on track during these trying times is not going to be, it's not going to be confined to right here and right now, because throughout our lives, we are going to have trying times. You've had trying times before, you will have trying times again. So even after COVID is completely gone, or however that looks, whatever it looks like in the future, we're still going to have trying times. You are still going to have trying times, Mason. And so, when you get off track, when you find yourself not as passionate about your passion, know that that's not something that is going to be confined to this particular moment. That this is something that is going to happen to you again, because trying times are going to happen to you again. I think that when it comes to this idea of trying times, it's really all about the way in which you view it, how you approach it, how you look at it. And the truth is that some people might use trying times, or certain kinds of trying times, or even this particular, quote, trying time, as an impetus, a catalyst, something that rather than derails them from their goals and passion, actually spurs them onward. So it's really all in how you look at the situation, Mason, and how you use the situation. I mean, I could talk so much about that, but I'm going to refrain because you really want to know, how do you get back on track? So I want to focus in on that for you, with the acknowledgement that there are always going to be trying times, and that these ways in which you can try to get yourself back on track are not confined to pandemics. They can be used at any time. And at any time, remember that you have these normal experiences of getting off track. So, how do you get back on track, Mason? Well, I cannot give you any fail-safe answer. So there's nothing that I can say that is absolutely going to work for you, that I can guarantee is going to get you back on track. And the truth is that what that means to be back on track means something different to you from what it might mean to someone else. So getting back on track is going to look different to you from what it might look to someone else. My guess is, Mason, and this is what it means to me, is that by getting back on track, you mean actively working towards your goals and actively working on your passion. That's my assumption here, Mason. So I apologize if my assumption is incorrect, but that's kind of the way that I'm looking at it. So how do you get back on track, Mason? There are oftentimes with a question like this, there are answers that involve some overwhelming kinds of responses, I think. So this idea of looking at this in a really big kind of way and saying things like, oh, you need to figure out your why. So now you're thinking, oh my gosh, I'm off track. I need to get back on track. But before I can get back on track, I have to figure out my why. I don't know about you, but when you ask a big question like that, sometimes it can be very daunting and have you feeling like, oh my gosh, how do I even wrap my brain around this question? How do I sit down and figure this out? And so then you are feeling like, oh, I'm just so set back by the question that I have to answer before I can even start working on my goals and passion again. So I always feel like starting with those really big questions and that big soul exploration can to many people seem so daunting that it's very defeating. And they think, gosh, if I have to figure that out before I can do anything else, then it just feels very overwhelming. So the way that I like to approach these kinds of challenges, Mason, is in a very underwhelming kind of way. Rather than say to you, well, Mason, you just really need to figure out whether this is your passion or not and how much it means to you. And then once you have that figured out, well, you're going to know either this isn't what you want to do, or you're just going to be so fired up, you're not going to need to worry about it. I think instead, Mason, that the way to approach this kind of challenge is in small ways. So, little things that you can do, and breaking it down into little things rather than trying to wrap your head around these bigger questions and feeling so intimidated by having to figure out these big questions before you can take any step. If you are asked, oh, Mason, well, what is your why? And what is it that you're getting at? And why are you doing this? And what's the reason behind it? And question. Yes, those questions are beneficial to ask. Yes, definitely ask those questions and reflect upon them. But so often, Mason, when we're faced with all of those questions, we feel overwhelmed, and it just has us feeling even more defeated and even more overwhelmed. Because right now, my guess is that you probably feel a little overwhelmed with getting back on track. Because, Mason, if you weren't feeling some feelings of overwhelm, you wouldn't be asking this question. You would know what you need to do in order to get yourself back on track, or to even take the steps towards it. So my assumption here, I'm going to make another assumption, Mason. My assumption is that you're feeling kind of overwhelmed about where to begin and how to begin and where to start. And so if I said to you, okay, Mason, first things first, you've got to ask yourself this, and this. You've got to sit down and reflect on this, journal this, and this. So do that first. You're going to say, holy cow, I can't even fathom doing all of that. I already feel overwhelmed. So Mason, I'm not here to overwhelm you. I'm here to encourage you. And so what I first want to recommend, Mason, is to do one thing. I want you to ask yourself, what is one thing, one small thing I can do right now? Right now, write N-O-W, now. Now. So Mason, when I say now, I mean pause this answer and do something right now that aligns with your goal, with your passion. And when I say do one thing, I mean that can be something incredibly small, very small. So that could be something as simple as sitting down and writing a list of things that you need to do or want to do aligned with your goals and passion. Writing a list of the things to do is an action. And so I'm going to encourage you to first take one small action and do that right away. You know, when we think about taking action towards our goals and we think about our passions, sometimes it just all seems so big. How do you even wrap your arms around it? How do you grasp it? How do you do it? it just seems like so much. But when you break it all down into the smaller pieces, it seems much more manageable. I like to think about goals as mountain climbing, as hiking up a mountain. You have your goal. Let's say that your goal, Mason, your passion is bingo. I don't know, bingo came to mind first. Maybe you absolutely love playing bingo. You have a bunch of friends you play bingo with. It's your big passion. And maybe you want to open up your own bingo hall. Bingo. So, how do you do that? Mason. You might be thinking, oh my gosh, I have to find a hall. I have to come up with the money. I have to buy the bingo chips. I have to buy the cards. I have to advertise. I have to. And it's just so much. And you just don't know where to start. Where do I start with all of this stuff? I just don't even know where to start. And so I'm going to say to you, just do one thing right now. And that could be, Mason, as simple as writing a to-do list of the things you need to do. That is one small, quick action. When we take immediate action, that's going to get us into a frame of mind. It's going to get us doing something and completing it right away. And now you've gotten something done. Just like that. Done. You did something. You took action towards your goals and passion. You took action towards getting that bingo hall. And when we do that, we create for ourselves the greater chance of doing it again. What happens is that you feel good, you've just accomplished something, you get a little shot of feel-good feelings, and you're like, yeah, I'm working towards my goal, that was great. And you're fired up to do it again. So then what do? Don't wait for 2 weeks to go by, and then you're saying, ugh, the bingo hall. How do I get back on track with the bingo hall? Oh, it's so much. I have to get the cards and I have to get the daubers. Is that what they're called, Mason? Daubers? Those things? It's whatever. I have to get the hall and I have to advertise. And oh my gosh, it's so much. I don't know where to start. Feeling defeated, forget it. And then you feel guilty for not working towards your goals and your passion. So, in addition to doing that quick thing right now, I'm also going to recommend that you do another quick thing soon again. The important thing in working towards our goals, our passion, is consistency. And to do it again and again and again. And when I say to do it, I mean those little things that you can do just right away. Because the little things all build up to big things. So let's go back to the mountain. When you have a goal, the bingo hall at the top of the mountain, there are so many ways to climb a mountain. There are numerous paths up the mountain. You can go straight up the mountain. You can go in zigzags. You can go up one side. You can go up another side. There are so many ways to hike up a mountain. And as you're climbing up the mountain, you can take step after step after step, or you can take a few steps and sit on a rock. You can take a few steps. You can take a nap. You can take a few steps. You can walk back down the mountain. So when we climb a mountain, we can climb it at our own pace. And that pace is really up to us. Whether we run up that mountain, whether we take it slow and steady, whether we pause at certain intervals, But I can tell you, Mason, that just like climbing up a mountain, if you put one foot in front of the other, eventually, yes, you will be at the top of the mountain. Eventually, yes, you will have your bingo hall. It's all about one foot in front of the other, consistent effort, keeping at it. So, Mason, for getting yourself back on track with your goals and your passion, it's consistency. Consistency is the key. Showing up again and again and again. And it doesn't have to be showing up in a big way again and again and again. It just needs to be showing up consistently again and again and again. Now, there's nothing wrong if you do sit on a rock for a while. There's nothing wrong if you do take a nap. There is even, Mason, nothing wrong if you walk back down the mountain and say, this is not the mountain for me. That is all okay. There is nothing wrong with that, and there is nothing wrong with you. But if you really are into this goal, if this is a passion, you use the word passion. If this is a passion, then I'm going to recommend to stay consistent. As consistent as you can, because remember, it is okay to get off track. That is a normal thing. And it doesn't mean that you don't really have your passion, that you really are wrong about it. It doesn't mean that at all. It means that you are a human being. And as a human being, you're going to have things, you're going to have trying times that are going to come your way. And, like winds trying to blow you off the mountain. That's going to happen. That's part of the experience of climbing the mountain. So, Mason, I'm going to recommend consistency. I'm going to recommend small things. The small things in our lives add up to big things. I especially like to think about it this way when I think about relationships, maintaining relationships. You know, we can do grand big gestures in relationships and say, oh, here, I love you so much. Look, I bought you this big piece of jewelry, this expensive piece of jewelry. Look how much I love you. But then if you're a jerk, all the rest of the time, you're not doing a good job of fostering and maintaining that relationship. Sure, the jewelry might really be nice, and it might be helpful to maintaining the relationship, but I think what really matters is the small little things that you do every single day, the consistent things that you're doing. And so it's the same way with our goals. It's the small things that you do consistently every day that get you towards your goal. It's those steps that you take every single day towards climbing the mountain. You don't need to run up the mountain, Mason. You will get to the top of the mountain with one step after the other. But you've just got to keep taking the steps. That's all. That's all. And those steps can be incredibly small and incredibly simple. So just keep taking them. Now, what else can we say about this, Mason, and this challenge of staying on track during trying times? I think that we really do, as human beings, have a tendency to be hard on ourselves, particularly when it comes to these things like our passions and these things that we're supposed to just naturally, it's supposed to just be so easy, right? When we love it, it's just supposed to be so easy. When we find our dream partner, it's just supposed to be so easy and you never fight or argue. That's not true. And so know that it's not necessarily going to be easy, that you are going to have challenges, that your interest is going to wax and wane. But if you take a long view of the situation, I think that can be helpful. If we scan out, if we look at the long view in terms of, okay, where will I be with this passion in 10 years? Where will I be in 20 years? Or even where do I want to be in 10 or 20 years? That, I think, can also help us to keep ourselves on track, to not get stuck in the weeds, and to rather view the forest instead of the trees. So not getting too encumbered by the individual trees and focusing on the individual trees, but rather taking a long view and looking at the forest itself. So looking, I think, Mason, at the long view of, okay, where do I see myself in 20 years? In 20 years, I see myself operating that bingo hall and have it full and have it just thriving. Lots of regulars who have been coming to the bingo hall for years, friendships that have been made, spouses that have been met, all because of your bingo hall, Mason. Actually, that sounds kind of nice, doesn't it? So looking at it in terms of where you want to be in 20 years, where you see yourself, and focusing in on that long-term view can help us with the short-term focus. So what to look at short-term, what to look at right now, in the here and now, and to align ourselves with that. One thing that can be helpful in goal setting is to look out that 20 years, to have that vision, and then to say, okay, if that's where I want to be in 20 years, where do I need to be in 15 years? What do I need to have done by 10 years from now? What do I need to have done 5 years from now? And walk yourself back and back and back. What do I need to have done 3 years from now, 2 years from now, 1 year from now? What do I need to be doing today that aligns with that? Mason, as planes are flying, planes are constantly keeping themselves on track. So planes are constantly veering off their target, their landing place, the place to which they are flying. They're constantly shifting as they fly. When you take off in a plane, and a plane is flying from New York to London, it's not going in a straight arrow. It's going in an arc, it's moving, it's shifting as it's flying, you're adjusting, it's not moving straight at the target all the time. It's shifting and moving, and the plane is constantly needing to adjust. You are that plane, Mason. So you know exactly where you want to be, what your passion is, and the direction that you want to be moving, but you need to keep yourself constantly moving towards that target. So you are always going to be shifting, and knowing that you're always going to need to be keeping yourself on target is very important. So just knowing that you are naturally going to be out of alignment, in a sense, or getting off track, that your plane is constantly going to need to be put back on track. And so making sure that you are always shifting. Ralph Blum, in his book, The Book of Runes, in the introduction says that at the outset of any journey, so picture a sailing ship, Mason. You set sail from your ship. At the beginning of that journey, the shift of just a few degrees, so you turn your ship just a few degrees at the beginning of that journey, you are going to end up somewhere completely different from where you might be, let's say 3 degrees. You shift your ship 3 degrees to the left, you are going to end up in a completely different place from where you would be if you hadn't shifted your ship just a few degrees at the outset of the journey. It's that exact same way with our goals. Mason, you just are constantly needing to shift yourself and align yourself with your goals. And that doesn't mean there's anything wrong with you. That means you are a normal human being. That means that just like a plane is always needing to refocus on where it's going, same thing for you, Mason. You're just always going to need to be realigning with your goals and your passion and your vision. So know that that is something constantly that you'll need to be doing. All the time, even on a daily basis, even on a moment-to-moment basis, Mason. You know, this idea of vision, I think, is an important component here too. Having a vision. So if you know what your passion is bingo. Okay, what's the vision for that passion? And it's okay, there's no need to force a vision. Pursue that passion, and eventually a vision will come. So Mason, those are some recommendations for you. You know, of course, as with all of these topics, there's so much to be said. So much more that can be said about goals and passions and getting yourself back on track towards those passions. But Mason, really, I'm going to encourage you to do the small little things that you can right now to build momentum, because the small things add up to big things. So telling your partner in a relationship, a friend, that you love them every day is going to add up and add up and add up and mean a lot more than a once in a while grand gesture. It's those little things that you do every day consistently that add up to big things. So Mason, I want to encourage you to go off and do a few small things and allow those to give you some momentum, and then keep going with it. Small things again and again and again that will add up to big movements towards your goals, that will add up to big steps up the mountain. Those little steps add up to big steps. And eventually you'll look back and say, wow, look how far I've come. And that's motivating too, to help you move on and take more steps. So Mason, good luck with your bingo haul. Of course I'm teasing. I have no idea what your goals and passion are. I'm sure they're wonderful, Mason. And so Mason, I'm going to pull a couple of cards here. I'm called to pull a tarot card. I'm called to pull an angel card. So let's pull a couple of cards and see. Wow, this just popped right out as I was shuffling the Archangel deck. It is actually two of them popped out and they landed face up on my leg. So let's see. The very top one is prosperity. Archangel Ariel says, your material needs are provided as you follow your intuition and manifest your dreams into reality. Wow, Mason, that's incredible. What a wonderful card. So you are being told right now that you have what you need in order to follow your dreams. Now, I don't know, Mason, maybe you're feeling kind of derailed because of feelings of, gosh, I need to pay the bills, or gosh, I have all of these other things I need to take care of. Well, you are being encouraged right now, Mason, that your needs are being taken care of. They are being provided for. You are being encouraged to follow your intuition, to manifest your dreams into reality. So you're being encouraged to say, the angels are saying, hey, listen, you're taken care of. We are here supporting you. Your needs are being met, food, clothing, shelter, all of those material needs are being met to free up the energy, Mason, for you to realize your dreams and work towards them and turn them into reality. And Mason, the second card, so this card was underneath the prosperity card, is clairaudience. Archangel Zadkiel says, notice the loving guidance you hear inside your mind or from other people. So you're also being encouraged, Mason, to just pay attention to the thoughts in your own head. Pay attention to things that you might hear. Because there's some guidance there for you in those. I know right now, Mason, you're thinking, oh my gosh, that's it. That's the answer. That's my passion. I really do want to open up a bingo hall. Okay, and I am being called to pull the Celtic Dragon Tarot. So I'm going to pull one of those for you as well. You know, as I'm shuffling, I do want to say something about this idea of finding your passion. I think that is said so frequently, but I don't know that that's really, the best way to conceive of it. So when I hear this idea of finding your passion, you know, I think that oftentimes it's said in a way that leaves people feeling like they are to blame if they don't know what their passion is, that there's something wrong with them if they don't have a passion or don't know what it is. I, instead of finding your passion, like to think of it in terms of creating your passion, because passion is the kind of thing that can be cultivated. You can develop passion for something. So there might be, okay, I have a card that just has popped out. There might be something that you may be interested in but not passionate about. But if you pursue that interest, it very well could develop into a passion and be something that becomes your, quote, life purpose. By the way, I don't think that we have one single life purpose. I think that we can have many things that we're passionate about, that spark our interest, and that we want to follow. And I think oftentimes that when we have this idea of having one life purpose, that when we decide we're no longer interested in it, we can feel like there's something wrong with us. Oh no, I'm no longer in love with my life purpose. What's wrong with me? I don't think so. To me, I think that the purpose, and I should really speak for myself here, Mason, my purpose is to love. And that can look like a million different ways. That can look like a million different things and be expressed in a million different ways. And so I think that really this idea of having a life purpose, I don't think it's accurate. I really don't. And so, Mason, you may be passionate about something right now. You may really be passionate about the bingo hall right now. But if you're not passionate about it in the future, that's okay. Don't beat yourself up for that. So the Celtic Dragon Tarot that I have pulled is the Four of Pentacles. So what I'm getting from this card right now, Mason, the Four of Pentacles, let me describe this image to you. It's a woman who is holding four pentacles close to her chest, as if to say, this is mine. There is a dragon looking at her, like breathing some fire and kind of almost saying, oh, yeah, that's yours. What this card is all about is this idea of hoarding, claiming what's yours and saying, oh, this is mine, and being challenged to give that up. So like clutching it to your chest. Now, what I'm getting from this card for you, Mason, is this idea of not feeling like there's enough of you to go around. That you are clutching at your own self, in a sense, clutching at the I have it, Mason. I'm not quite sure how to explain it in words, but it's this idea of not having enough of yourself to give to this experience. So almost this passion. So almost like, oh, I have to worry about this and this and this, and this passion is mine, but I don't feel like I have the ability to devote time to it. And so if you're feeling maybe kind of, and this is what I'm picking up, Mason, and I could be completely wrong. So I'm willing, of course, to not be right in going out on this limb, but I'm just getting the impression that you're feeling pulled. And what you're doing is you're taking your dreams and you're clutching them to your chest and saying, this is mine, and feeling challenged to let go of that and let it into the world and to work on it and express it, because you just are feeling strapped for time and strapped for effort and energy. I want to encourage you to open up your arms. The image is one of clutching tightly to the chest. And I want to encourage you, Mason, to let go. Let go and open up your arms. Remember that angels are saying that your material needs are covered, so you don't have to clutch so tightly to those worries. Let those go and open up your arms so that you can clutch your dreams, and not to clutch them so tightly as if this is mine, but rather lovingly. So not clutching out of a fear, but cradling in love. Well, Mason, thank you so much for this question and the opportunity to talk about passions and goals. I greatly appreciate it, and I send you best wishes and blessings for your passion and your goals, whatever your bingo haul may be. And to all those listening, I send you blessings to your passions and goals and working towards those. When we get off track, that's an okay thing. And it's just a reminder. It's an opportunity as a reminder to what is important to us and what we do want to be working on and working towards. And so when we find that we have fallen asleep on the mountain and we wake up, it's okay. It's just a reminder that, oh, that's right, I'm on this mountain that I really want to climb. I really want to get to the top of this mountain. So it's just a reminder. So I send you blessings and best wishes for your climbs up the mountain. I am so honored to be able to come to you, and I want to thank you and send you blessings for your passion and goals. So best wishes. Again, I'm Christian of Standing Stones Healing Company, where my passion is encouraging your journey with Reiki, card reading, and coaching for life's changes, challenges, and transitions. Best wishes and blessings for your journey. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ask the Stones. If you have a question for Ask the Stones, please send me an email at christian@standingstoneshealing.com or connect with me on Facebook at Standing Stones Healing. Thank you, and best wishes for your journey.